Gardner-Webb head coach Trey Lamb, a team coming off a loss to FBS East Carolina. That was their second FBS opponent of the year. Open date this week. They'll be back in action. They host Robert Morris on October 7th. They have, of all their games left, they have 2 non-conference games, and the rest are association contests. So, Coach, just some thoughts on your team and heading into the open date, and then we'll go to some questions.
Yeah, first of all, we had a young man injured Saturday night at East Carolina. He was carted off on a stretcher with a back injury, spine injury. I'm happy to report, and he's doing very well. He's moving in all his extremities. He made it home Sunday morning, thanks to our training staff, ECU's training staff, the local hospital there that got him great care. And he's doing great. He's fine. He'll be further evaluated today by our doctors. But Honus is doing great. We'll see what he wants to do as far as playing the rest of the year, or kind of what his decision wants to be. But that's the worst part of this beautiful game we have. It's a great game. It teaches you so many life lessons and opportunities to better yourself as a man, as a son, as a future dad, and you learn a lot from this crazy game. But the worst part about it, it's a collision sport, and guys get hurt, and those spinal and neck injuries and back injuries are always terrifying. And just continue to pray for Honus, and thankful he's in our program. As far as East Carolina goes, they put it to us Saturday night. Not our best showing really in any phase. Congrats to them. They out-executed us. They out-prepared us. They've got really good players, and they put it all together for a game Saturday night. We get 11 possessions and we lose 5 fumbles. We're not going to beat anybody. So those are things we got to get back to the basics. We got to worry about ourselves, our culture, and our habits. I think anytime you lose a game like that, even if it is to a bigger school with more scholarships and more resources, we got to take a hard look at ourselves, what we can tweak. How are we getting our guys prepared to play with less anxiety, to play with confidence? Any coach, in my opinion, can go yell, hold on to the ball, or do your job. That's not coaching. That anybody can do that. It's getting the guys prepared, mentally prepared to play with less anxiety, less stress, and then the players got to go perform. If they don't, these fumbles continue to be an issue. You're just going to be standing over there with me watching. So 11 possessions, 5 fumbles lost, and obviously the weather played a factor there in the middle of a tropical storm, but no excuses. They held on to the ball and we didn't. But we got some guys banged up, some key starters that are hurt. We're going to practice a couple times this week, hit the weight room, and we're going to get on the road recruiting as a staff, and go see some local guys in the area. Going to go see some guys from the upstate and get a couple coaches down into Georgia and Florida this week to evaluate how we can better our roster moving forward. This season, I'm still very, very, very encouraged about what we have moving forward. We're 1-3 with a very quality win over CAA Elon team, who's now 2-0 in that conference. We got a last-second loss to Tennessee State on 2 50-yard field goals. So we could be sitting here at 0-4, 2-2 at best, with 2 group of 5 losses. I'm encouraged. We were in a lot worse shape last year at 1-5, and we still had a Liberty on the schedule down the stretch. And we just got to make sure we're peaking at the right time. No one's hitting the panic button here. There is certainly some urgency. We got to get some things fixed on our end that are absolutely gutting us offensively. We've played very poor for the last 6 quarters. I have to evaluate why that is. It's my job as the offensive coordinator and the quarterback's coach to get that done. So we're working. Our players are very enthused, and I'm excited to have a bye week and then get a conference win, hopefully against a good Robert Morris team in 2 weeks.
Thanks, Coach. We'll go to some questions. I know Jacob is with us. You can go first, Jacob, with any questions you have.
Coach, do you feel like this bye week is coming at a good time for your program with all the things that you just mentioned?
Yeah, I do, Jacob. We got to get some guys healthy, no question. We got to get in the weight room. We got to get some pounds put back on. We're light right now across the board, just because we've been going at it so hard for the last 8 weeks. So we got to get some strength back. We've got to get healthy. And we've got to really hone in on what we're good at and simplify. I think anytime you play poorly, like we did Saturday night, there's reasons, and those reasons have to be figured out by me. That's my job. It's what I get paid to do. So we'll be better. We're going to simplify. We're going to get back to, focusing more about things culturally from a leadership perspective rather than X's and O's. Those are going to take care of itself. We got a good enough football team to win a bunch of games. We're talented. We're older. We're in good shape. We get, the balls didn't bounce our way at Tennessee State and laid an egg offensively Saturday night. So, the message is going to be very clear. It's on you. It's on us. We have to own that. And if you're not getting the job done, you're going to be over there watching with me. So we got to coach better. We got to play better.
Coach, what does a bye week look like for you as far as, do you give the kids time off and have lighter practice, or just walk me through what a typical bye week looks like for your program?
Yeah. So Sunday night, Sunday morning we got back at 5 a.m. So we gave everybody in the organization off Sunday. Players were off yesterday. We will have a captain's meeting today at 9:45 here in a few minutes, and then team meeting at 2:30. And then we'll practice today, practice tomorrow. We'll do some mental health and team building exercises on Thursday, individual meetings with each coach and player in the organization. Coaches are going to go on the road Thursday afternoon and recruit Friday to make sure that we're getting the Gardner-Webb logo out in certain areas that need to see it, just to continue to bolster our roster. So that's kind of what the plan is. Saturday, we'll watch the Robert Morris game as a staff. And then Sunday, we'll get back into a normal game week next week to get going. So that's kind of what our plan is. The keys this week is to make sure we're getting back to honing in on what we do well, get our players healthy, make sure they're in a good mental state, and then get on the road recruiting and find more players is the game plan.
Are you, just a couple more things, are you encouraged that some people that are injured might benefit from the extra week of rest, might be available next week versus Robert Morris?
Yeah, Jamari Brown's injured, Nari Gaither's injured, Jaden Brown's injured, Jonathan Burns hadn't played, Anthony Herock hadn't played. We're banged up for sure, and we got to get some of those guys feeling better, and they've been playing at about 70-80%, and we got to make sure they're getting closer to 100 before next Saturday.
Okay, Coach, I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Coach, you talked about with the two FBS opponents. Is it an ideal world? Is it better to play them up front in the season, or like some teams have to play them near the end of the season? Does it really matter?
Yeah, I think you like playing them up front. Honestly, it always your margin for error is so freaking small in those games. I mean, everything's exposed. If you're not exactly in the right spot, the things just move faster when you're playing against better players. I mean, it's not that hard to figure out, guys. I mean, their players are good. They're really good. There's a reason they're at App State. There's a reason they're at East Carolina. There's a reason they're in the Group of Five. There's a reason they're in the American and the Sun Belt. Okay. Things happen so much faster in those games for every player. And I think the earlier you realize that, it kind of sharpens you for conference play. And I think it did that last year. We played 3 of them last year, 2 of them this year. And that's going to be our mantra moving forward. So we have to use the good and the bad and learn from it.
Well, Coach, appreciate your time this morning during the open date. Glad to hear about your player, and hopefully everything else goes well this week, and we'll talk to you again next Tuesday.
Okay. Thanks, Kyle.